little project that I'm gonna do for Lauren. She's been wanting it's like about the size of a volleyball, a cupcake shaped business card holder. I'm gonna try to get that together today, take it in the house, either have her paint it or I'll paint it. Depends how busy she is. I know she has a huge market coming up soon and she is baking away all her baked goods. In order for me to do this, I need to get to my woodworking workbench and have Blue here, which is another project that I'm slowly doing. I gotta get him rolling forward. So I'll get him out of the way first and I'll be right back. I have now a workable area to do this little project. I do need to find some wood, some scrap wood to use. This is going to be painted, so I'm not looking for anything crazy. I have some mahogany up here, African rosewood for a project I did years ago, some scrap molding. That looks like red oak or no, that's cherry. Got a couple pieces of white wood. It's just stuff that Home Depot sells, but I don't have anything that looks like it would make a nice, maybe 8-inch wide base for this thing. This here would work, but unfortunately it's AZAC vinyl. So I'm going to keep looking, see if I can find something. I found this old board here. This was a 1960 shelf. It was originally taken out of the house. And it looks like it's some kind of veneer wood, like it's maybe I don't even know if they had, I guess it's plywood with maybe a veneer over it. I'm going to cut the end and see exactly what this is. Maybe I could use this. That's exactly what it is. It's some kind of old plywood pressed board, which will work great because we're going to paint it. We don't need to stain it. We don't need it finished. We don't need it anything special. I'll probably never use this piece of wood ever. So I'm going to get a nice square edge off of it and get rolling on this. Good starting point. I cut this piece out of the old shelf here. I'm looking to do an oval base, maybe 8 inches by about 4.5. So I cut this piece 9 inches by, it's about 5 3/8, maybe a little shy of that. Found the center point, 4.5 is half of 9. And this is about, I don't know, 2 11/16. I'm not getting too technical because it's going to be trimmed anyway. So what I want to do, first of all, I want to draw a line through the center. Get a nice square line through that center. This is not the speed square that I usually use. That is about 200 feet away in the house, and I got to grab that. So center of the board line. I'm going to go center of the this way. This is the easy way to make an oval. What I want to do, I'm going to make an 8 by, I don't know, what do you guys think? 4.5? That'd be a good oval. So I'm going to make a 8-inch length, so half of 8 would be 4, and we'll go 8, and half of 4.5 would be 2 1/4. 4.5, Now, I'm not being exact here. These are not crazy measurements for something really that has to be fine-tuned. So we got about a 4.5 by 8 inch oval. The easy way to make this oval is you take the half distance, which is 4. You take it from the point you have here, this point here, to this line here, and you have a mark there. Same thing on this side. 4 inches from that point to this point. Hopefully you can see that. So I have several lines going on here, and what I am going to do next is put pins here. I'm going to take a string and use the string method to do an exact oval, or at least something close that I can hone in with the sanders and get close. This is the string method of making an oval. You can do it on any size oval. It's kind of tougher with the smaller ovals because the string is kind of thick, but it'll get us close enough where I can cut the oval out and sand it. But as you remember, all the measurements, went over that before. Take this nail out. What you're going to do is start at that point, and you're just going to follow the string around and let it go naturally. Don't force it. Don't try to push the string too much. It should come out fairly close. Unfortunately, this is not the best since it already had a loop in my masons. But there you go. That is an oval. And it's a little short there, but I can adjust that. We have an oval. Can fill those holes in later. Remember these finishing nails? Ever since gun nails came about, I've had these for about 25 years. I never use them for anything. I don't even think I use a hammer anymore. Everything's gun nailed, everything's brad nailed, but fortunately I have these little pin nails laying around. I want to show you this bandsaw. Now, a couple things. These things are great for small projects. This board out of the way. This is a little big for the average person to use for just small woodworking projects. Couple things I want to let you know about, if I can get this open. All right, I had to cut away for a second. I couldn't get the bottom clamp open. It says, I used to open these and I would get a condominium full of mice and mice housing. I mean, this is nice. It had an elevator. It had all kind of stuff for the mice to live in. Those rodent balls, those peppermint balls you buy, they have worked great. No mice. I want to show you something. On this saw, I have tightened the blade, but this thing up here, you want, when you store these saws, make sure you take the pressure off. Where the blade is loose, it'll save. I just replaced this orange band around here. I replaced it. I always kept tension on these, and it's not a good idea. So loosen your blade. It'll make your machine last longer. Then when you go to use it, you can tighten it. The way you check it is you don't want more than about an 1/8 inch deflection in your blade at any given time. So I'm going to go ahead and set this thing up for the size wood we're using, and I'm going to cut it out. I'm ready to cut this out. I got the height adjusted. I want to tighten the blade, make sure this blade is adjusted properly so it doesn't wander too much. I got this adjusted. the fence here is just slightly above the wood. You don't want this thing up really high. It actually helps keep the blade from wandering too much. I'm going to take my time on this, and what I want to do is I want to cut outside of this line. I don't want to cut right on that line. I'm just going to take a sander and sand the oval to the line to fine tune it and get it ready to be finished. I'll give it a shot here. Now I have my drill press, works well with a sanding bit. I'm going to sand this to the line to get it looking more like an oval. I spaced it ever so slightly in order to, so this doesn't rub. As you can see, I've rubbed that before, but I'll give this a whirl and see if I could get it fairly straight. About as close as I want to do with this machine right now. The rest I'm just gonna probably hand sand with a palm sander. It's I changed my mind. I think I'm gonna make a football out of it. I cut this, it's about 7.5 inches by about 7. This is just a rough drawing of a cupcake. The base, maybe icing, different color icings, and a little whoop-de-doo on the top. I think that'll work. And then the business cards, they'll sit in slots on both sides of the cupcake, and it'll sit up kind of like this. That's the idea. That's what Lauren wants. So I'm going to fine-tune this drawing, see if I can cut this out. Okay, let's cut the cupcake. I lost my line. Had to put a Sharpie on it. Pencil I was rubbing off. Off to the sander. Alright, I'm going to get rid of some of these sharp points on here because nothing in nature is a 90-degree angle. Most things in nature are curves. See if I can curve this thing a little bit more. Much better. Cupcake. Cupcake. So even though my YouTube channel is called 80 Grit Garage, I think I'm going to start off with using 120. Why? Because I ordered the wrong sandpaper a while ago. These holes don't line up. Certain sandpapers will line up. This particular one, no matter where I put the holes, it just doesn't line up. But it works. I mean, it's good for crafts. 120 is good too, because this is just a fine laminate over top of plywood. I don't want to sand that off. Plywood doesn't finish very well, so I want to try to keep that. I'm just taking out all the imperfections, the dirt, cleaning up the sides. I'm going to kind of round the edges the best I can. Any other work will be done with files inside of here. The first thing I'm going to do is sand the outer area. Okay, kind of appears to be a cupcake. Got to get inside here with a file. That's it. I'm going to prime these. I'm not going to put them together because they're going to be hard to paint like that. Now what I have to do is put cuts in here to hold business cards. I don't know how many cuts. I'll draw with a pencil and figure that out now. I don't know if you could see these, see those lines. This will hold 20 business cards. I want to make them about the same depth. I don't want to have something looking crazy. So an easy way to do this, I use my finger as a scribe. Something like this. Maybe have them go in about 1 inch. Or not 1 inch, maybe 3/4 to 1/2 inch. So that's kind of the depth I'm going to put these cuts. So they're kind of all uniform. So what I'm going to do is cut to that line. I think that'll hold a business card in there fine. I'm going to do this on the bandsaw. The reason I want to do this on the bandsaw is this has a very small curved blade. If I did it on a table saw, yeah, they'd be perfectly straight. It would look cool. But the business cards would fit in there loosely. And I don't want that. Sometimes in the summer when she works these markets, there's a fan blowing. I don't want business cards flying out of this thing. So I'm trying to make the cuts as thin as possible. And I'll go ahead and do these cuts. Okay, those cuts are not perfectly spaced. They're not perfectly straight. In order to get it perfectly straight, I would have had to scribe lines and make a jig. It doesn't matter. Once these business cards are stuck in here, you won't notice. This is all going to be painted different colors anyway. If I made, I don't know, if I made more than 10 of these, I'd probably make a jig and cut this entire pattern out with a router. It'd be quick, cleaner cuts, easier. This blade I got in here is just about shot. It's wobbling around a lot. So that's something to consider if you're going to make a lot of something. Always make a jig. The routers work great. I'm going to go ahead and prime this and take it in the house where I could sit at the kitchen table and do the colors that Lauren once put on here. painted the base red, finished the cupcake colors. Lauren approved, so we're ready to join these two. I didn't show you the whole painting process with the base. It's just standard. It's a red that I painted the old Craftsman work boxes with. I like it. It's bright. It makes the cupcake colors pop. What I have here is I have clamp. I centered the cupcake in my football oval, and I marked for some pilot holes. I'm going to go ahead and drill the pilot holes. And what that'll do is I'm going to use trim screws. I'm not using glue or anything, because if I glue it, it's just going to be paint to paint type of glue. That's not going to hold up. So I got a 2 1/4 inch finish screws, and I'm going to drill pilot holes, send 2 or 3 of them through the bottom, and this thing should be wrapped up. Okay, without the Frosty the Snowman blanket, that is the finished product. And what will happen is those little slots, I used dental floss to clean them out. It just wasn't enough. So I'm going to take a blade, a very small curved saw blade. I'm going to clean them out a little bit more, and this thing will be ready to go. I like it. Final product, kind of looks like a cupcake tree of cards, or a cupcake bird. Lauren's business cards, 10 on both sides. People can pull the cards out, they come right out, they don't get stuck. I like the colors, everything kind of pops with that red base. I like it. There you go, cupcake business card holder.